Markets end the day sharply lower after weak jobs report ignites fears of a slowing economy. Stock markets tumbled Friday as disappointing jobs reports added fears that the U.S. economy is weakening. The Dow closed 612 points, or 1.5% lower, after falling more than 900 points earlier in the session. The S&P 500 lost 1.8%, and the Nasdaq Composite declined 2.4%. The Nasdaq closed in correction territory, or more than 10% off its most recent high on July 10th. CNN's Fear and Greed Index, which measures 7 barometers of market sentiment, fell to a fear reading of 27. The U.S. economy added just 114,000 jobs in July, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics data released Friday. That's far below economists' estimates of 175,000 jobs added. The unemployment rate surged to 4.3% from 4.1%, and above expectations for it to stay steady. So basically, man, like this was 2 straight days of just huge declines on the market. I think Thursday and Friday we had huge declines, and this is all coming like just from fears of just of just the overall economy weakening right now. And people are starting to kind of get concerned right now that the U.S. economy may slide into recession. And this is not a good time right before an election. It's never a good time to fall into a.
There's a lot of
I've
spoken with a lot of people, and a lot of people are they're really concerned about the election. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are like, look, one side, they either Republican or Democrat, like people are really concerned about this. So I figure that's affecting the economy right now. People don't know if they should pull their money out. If, like, for me, like I was telling you what I was doing earlier, I gather wood, water, and ammunition. You know what I'm saying? I try to be prepared. Like I take the election day off, or no, the day after the election off, and then you just sit and prepare. There's a lot of uncertainty going on in the world.
I think the biggest thing, there's another one right here, but I think the biggest thing too is the interest rates. I mean, the Fed's rate, basically the Fed rate. They've been looking for Feds to make a rate cut for a while. What the Fed should have cut rates at the end of Obama's presidency. They should have cut rates in Trump's presidency, but they didn't. They waited until Biden had to take the big hit. He took the rate cut, and that's why everyone was saying during his presidency we're going to see a recession. They raised rates, and that makes it so there's less money in the economy. Banks can't lend as freely. I mean, manufacturing jobs have fallen because materials aren't as readily available because people can't take out loans as cheaply as they once could. And so the Fed is talking about not dropping rates. They said possibly September, but they may not do it in September. And so, but that's kind of why the economy is going through what it's going through, because money is so tight right now. The more I have to pay to borrow money, the worse it gets for everybody else. It makes me not want to borrow money if I got to pay so much for it, because I'm not profiting as well as I would have before. I mean, they say like Chipmaker Intel to cut 15,000 jobs as tries to revive its business and compete with rivals.
I mean, also that's a lot of AI stuff. But people don't realize, like, all these jobs that are going to be getting cut recently or in the future, it's because they've realized that your job can be done by a robot.
Yeah, that
basically.
Too. But I'm saying Chipmaker Intel says it's cutting 15% of its huge workforce, about 15,000 jobs, as it tries to turn its business around and compete with more successful rivals like Nvidia and AMD. In a memo to staff, Intel Corp CEO Pat Gelsinger said Thursday the company plans to save $10 billion in 2025. Simply put, we must align our cost structure with our new operating model and fundamentally change the way we operate, he wrote in a memo published on Intel's website. Our revenues have not grown as expected, and we've yet to fully benefit from powerful trends like AI. Our costs are too high. Our margins are too low. Let me see. This is kind of some of the reasoning. I got a couple of really good notes here, just to do with these guys. So, Intel is like Nvidia. Nvidia has grown. Nvidia's, I think their profit like $14 billion last year or something like that. But Intel is losing money because not only they also not only do they create like the software, they also make the chips as well. You know what I mean? So that's what they do. But they got like an $8.5 billion loan, from the CHIPS Act. The CHIPS Act came out from the Biden administration. So they set aside $50 billion to give to companies to bring chip making back to America. And so Intel said, okay, we'll make the chips here. So they gave them $8.5 billion direct funding and $11 billion in cheap loans to kind of like help them to create jobs here and help us get the chip market back. We used to make a lot more chips here in our country. And I think that's going to be the spearhead of American jobs are going to be chip making in the future. AI, of course.
That solar panel making.
Absolutely. And so this is why this is important. I mean, right now, I think we're just going through a jittery period. If they drop rates, man, things will kind of correct itself. But the stock market's at an all-time high. People, you have to expect that. You know, we're over 40,000 points in the stock market. You know what I mean? It was before these couple of drops the last few days. So you have to kind of expect some kind of room for correction. It's not, I mean, so you still got room. You know, it'd be different if it drops 1,000 more points the next few days. We'll just watch it over the next couple of weeks, because sometimes in the stock market, what you'll see a lot of times is they'll have a really strong dip, and then they'll recover and recover and recover. Then they'll dip again on you. They're just trying to lure you in. I guess it was like $2.9 trillion over the last couple of days have been lost in global finance. They've taken out of the global market. It's a lot of money to take out of the markets. Imagine what they're doing with that $2.9 trillion. That means something. Something's happening. You know, so we do need to pay attention to that. There could be some kind of a recession. We've been waiting on it for probably since like 2016. Recession is something that you have to have. It flushes the system. It kind of gets rid of debt. It's just basically like bankruptcy almost, to a degree. Yeah. You get rid of debt and you start the whole debt-ridden system all over again. That's what this is. So it's not every recession is not like 2008. Everyone doesn't come around and kill the whole entire market of everything. It just sometimes you have to have. Recession is basically 2 quarters of negative growth. That's all recession really means.
People feel like a recession is what happened during COVID when everything just shut down.
Or 2008 when that was a housing bubble. That was the Great Recession.
Yeah, because they were betting on. They gave people bad home loans and stuff, and
so it's a little bit different. We can't always look at things that they're going to always turn that way. So you know,
and